Hi everybody, this is Jenn Volk and I'm here with Carrie Murphy and we're here to talk to you about what is urban in Delaware.
So in the next 20 minutes, we're going to provide you with just a little bit of background. We're going to talk about what is urban extension with the focus on the National Urban Extension Leaders, which is NUEL. We're going to talk about Delaware, defining urban, and then next steps. We definitely want to hear from you about the work that you're doing, and then there are some upcoming opportunities that you might want to take advantage of. So a little bit of context. A few years ago in a leadership team meeting, we discussed extension programming and recognized that we were doing a lot of work in the city of Wilmington, everything from urban forestry to volunteer recruitment and training for a whole host of volunteers that help to support our programs. You'll remember too that our College of Agriculture and Natural Resources embarked on a vision and roadmap for the next 25 years. And you can find this entire document actually under staff resources on the college's website. But I just took from the executive summary under selective excellence and highlighted and bolded the very bottom of that paragraph where it says, to remain relevant to future stakeholders and students, the college must develop excellence in the areas of, and a whole list of different areas, including urban agriculture. When you look further into Cantor's master plan under cooperative extension and outreach, which is more familiar to you, you'll find that we as a unit have also made a commitment to develop a strategy for meeting the population needs in the city of Wilmington. And you can read through that on your own, but it's important to tie back this discussion to some of the goals that we've already outlined through the master plan and also the plan of work. So, responding to a directive from Michelle Rogers and the leadership team, and then together with my colleagues, we started to investigate our urban extension work, reaching into the Newcastle County office in particular to find out what people were doing, which communities we were reaching or not reaching, and then summarizing that information. Fast forward to a more recent leadership team meeting, we visited this topic again, because it had surfaced at a recent conference that I had attended, which is called the JSEP conference, which is the Joint Council of Extension Professionals, where over lunchtime we benefited from a presentation from NUEL, which is the National Urban Extension Leaders. So I wanted to take this opportunity just to introduce you to this group if you haven't heard of them before, and then also take you to the website that they've developed, which is an excellent resource. You will find different program areas and resources, people who are involved in NUEL, information about the steering committee. For the communities that are looking for extension support, you can also search by state and also office. We're taping this a little early for First Friday, but I've been promised that by First Friday, University of Delaware will be listed, so you can search by state. And you'll see that right now we're not shaded, but that's soon to change. And then urban extension near to you, or urban extension near you, the different areas. And then again, we're looking to have University of Delaware soon listed so that people can get in contact with us if they need to. At that same conference, the JSEP conference in April, we also had a lunchtime presentation from Dino DeChantes, who's with the Penn State Center Pittsburgh. He's the director. And he showed a video that was just 2-3 minutes that really defined what NUEL was doing and also helped to promote urban extension work. And so we're going to show that to you now.
Most of the advocacy extension does is focused on the agriculture side, particularly the production agriculture piece. But 80% of our population has little concern for those things that we hold in highest regard. Hello, my name is Dino DeChantes. I'm the director for the Penn State Center, Pittsburgh. I can't be there today because I am actually with the senatorial caucus in Pennsylvania as we start to look at ways of advocating for the extension system. As you may know, just 2 weeks ago, our budget finally passed. Our demographics have changed, yet our system has not yet recognized it with all the passion and investment necessary to move the political dial. Politics are politics, but we do ourselves an enormous disservice by framing that all extension does is tied to farming and production agriculture. Our system has just so much more to offer the residents of our country and our states. Democrats, Republicans, conservative, liberals, all are equally important. If we play only one side because of subjective perspectives, it will cost us our extension future. Also, an exclusive focus on legislative agriculture committees disregards significant programming areas in which we play important community roles, and these go beyond 4-H and master gardeners. Ag literacy, look, we don't have the funds to move the marketing needle on that when we're talking about 320 million citizens. Rather than to continue appealing to the 20% with all of our might, we may consider applying some of our efforts to the 80% with the programming that is most relevant to them. Perhaps that will make our advocacy efforts more effective. Perhaps emphasis should be placed on uncovering other stakeholders beyond our traditional support systems and begin building new networks. Urban communities are consumers, so what percentage of our budgets support programming relevant to that? So as you work to advocate for extension, remember the 80%.
So thanks to Dino for allowing us to share that video that he taped for that conference with all of you today. If we look to a more recent leadership team meeting, we just had a really interesting discussion about the urban programming that we're doing, and it really brought into question what really is urban, specifically in Delaware. So where in Delaware, beyond the city of Wilmington, which is what most of us are most familiar with. For example, in Newcastle County, we've got Newark and Claymont, we've got Middletown and Kent and Sussex, we've got Dover, Milford, Seaford. What is urban, urban cluster, urban area? And so Jenn is going to talk to you a little bit more about that.
Thanks, Carrie. So as Carrie said, we try to really figure out what is urban, and so we turned to the U.S. Census Bureau, and for a great definition from our government, we found that there are what they consider urban areas, which are areas that have more than 50,000 people, and then urban clusters, which are more of the developing areas, the places that are getting bigger. There's 2,500 to 50,000 people in those zones. So if you look at this map that is on the screen for you here, it shows the urban areas in green and the urban clusters in pink. And all of these urban areas, according to their definition, they represent densely developed territory and encompass residential, commercial, and other non-residential urban land uses. So when I showed this map to the leadership team, we started kind of saying, well, this is still a little confusing. There's this big green blob in Newcastle County that says Philadelphia, and we know that's a lot of land area, but what are they talking about specifically? Is that just Wilmington and Newark, or areas within the county? Same with Dover. You know, I know Dover's not that big. It doesn't stretch from the top of the county down to almost the bottom of it. So we know there's more areas in there. So I broke out my GIS skills, and I took these shape files and overlaid our municipal boundaries for our state on them, just so I could look at this in a little bit more detail and try to understand really what the Census Bureau is considering urban and urban cluster. So here we're looking at Newcastle County, and that big green blob that they called Philadelphia. It encompasses all of Wilmington, the areas that Carrie was talking about. Basically, Claymont is in there, although it doesn't show up as a municipality for our state. All of Newark. And then in the pink, the cluster is the Middletown, Odessa, Townsend area, the MOT zone. But you can see they've had development outside of the town boundaries within the county as well. And those are showing up in the census blocks as places with at least 2,500 people. So what's interesting is within these shape files, they have additional data sets. And so it has information on the land area and the population. And so for Newcastle County, if you look at the table here, 49% of the land area is urban, 51% rural. So pretty much a 50-50 split of the amount of land in these rural or urban classifications. The population, though, in the orange columns there, about 95% of the population of Newcastle County lives within the urban areas and urban clusters, and only 5% of the population is in the rural zone. So kind of taking this back to what Dina was just saying, who are the constituents, who are the stakeholders that we're working with? You know, we're extension, and a lot of people do associate that with being agriculture, and we know it's more than agriculture. And agriculture is very important, but we do a variety of things. So we have to think about all of our stakeholders and are we meeting their needs. So in Kent County, it's a little bit of a different situation. About 86% of the land area is still in the rural zone, but and 14% is considered urban or urban area. The population, though, Kent County is really good at pushing people into their developing zones in their districts. So 73% of the Kent County population is in those urban areas, and only 27% in the rural. And then in Sussex County, they have their own set of rules and policies for development. And so down there, there's only the Seaford, Laurel, and Delmar zone is showing up as an urban area with more than 50,000 people. But you'll see just about all of the towns are falling within an urban cluster. So these are the developing areas. You can even see this one big pink blob. This would be like the Oak Orchard area. A lot of development in Sussex County is still occurring in the county and not in the town. So if you look at their breakout, about 88% of the county is still considered rural, but 41% of the people live there. And so I was actually surprised to see how many people are actually in the urban areas and urban clusters. And you'll see about 46% of the Sussex population is in that urban cluster area, those pink blobs. So I think what is interesting to take away from all of this is, you know, yeah, these are some definitions from the government. They don't necessarily always make sense, but what's important is for us to take that back to where are we working? What communities are we working with? So are we sure that we're hitting all of these places, or are there places within our state and communities within our state that we're not reaching yet? And ultimately, are we able to do what we need to do? And think about, are we marketing our programs to all of the people that we want to reach? So thinking about our funders, are we able to explain to them what our impacts are and the places within their communities that they are finding are important? So this conversation, this first Friday, is basically a precursor. Michelle is going to be asking all of our program leaders to be having this conversation with the staff in program meetings in the future about what is urban, what kind of work we're already doing. So it would be great if you guys now in the chat box could start typing in some of your ideas, what you think you're doing that is urban extension, or what you could be doing in the future, and maybe some ways for us to cross our program boundaries and work with other people. And then we'll be sending more information out and hoping to gather this information and provide a report back to our leadership team. So also, before we end today, I wanted to just share with you a couple of opportunities for you to get your urban on. The Northeast Regional Urban Extension Conference is coming up in the end of November. It's right in New Jersey, so it's not far. It's being hosted by Rutgers University. Their call for abstracts has closed already, but the registration is still open. So if anyone is interested, you can register and attend and learn more about urban extension and not have to go too far. There's also the National Urban Extension Conference in 2017 being held in Minnesota. So they are having the call for conference proposals right now. So here's an opportunity for you to go and share with other people across the nation the type of work that you're doing in urban programming now. The registration's not open yet, but that will be coming soon. So I know Carrie has attended that in the past. It's been held concurrently with some other programs, so we've had good Delaware representation there in the past, and it would be wonderful if we could still have good Delaware representation in the future. So with that, I will be on live for this first Friday, so if there are questions, I will attempt to answer them, but hopefully we could just have some good discussion and see where this conversation goes in the future.
Thank you.